The Chase Sapphire Preferred is still one of the most popular and talked about travel credit cards. And I have had the Chase Sapphire Preferred for 2 years now, and I have some mixed feelings about the card and whether I'm going to keep it long term. So in this video, I'm going to discuss my honest thoughts on the Chase Sapphire Preferred after having the card for the past 2 years. I'll discuss the specific value that I've been able to get over the past 2 years, and then some important factors that are going to play a major part in my decision on whether to keep or cancel the card. So as always, we're just going to hop right into the video, but before I do that, do me a huge favor and hit that like button and subscribe down below because it's a free and easy way to help support my channel. So before I get into the specific ways that I've used the Chase Sapphire Preferred over the past 2 years, let's get into some of the key components on the card. So the Chase Sapphire Preferred is a mid-tier Chase travel card that has a $95 annual fee, and the welcome offer is typically anywhere from like 60,000 to 100,000 Chase points. The point multipliers on the Chase Sapphire Preferred are really just not very good, and this is a major downside that people like to talk about when it comes to the Sapphire Preferred. One of the most specific and tangible ways to get value on the Sapphire Preferred is going to be the $50 hotel credit when you book a hotel through the Chase travel portal, and that can actually reduce your effective fee on the Sapphire Preferred down from $95 to just $45. But of course, you want to make sure that you're using that organically, and I will get into that a little bit more in a second. You'll get what Chase likes to call partnership value as well. So you'll get an Instacart Plus membership and a DoorDash DashPass subscription. But then the best benefit on the Chase Sapphire Preferred is going to be the redemption capabilities, which again is going to be subjective and it's going to be based on each person's own situation and how much they're able to utilize them. You'll get 25% higher redemption value when you book travel through the Chase travel portal, which can be really valuable for those of you who really value a simple and straightforward travel redemption. And then most importantly, the Chase Sapphire Preferred is going to unlock the ability for you to transfer your Chase points out to Chase's travel partners, which is going to allow you to get the most outsized value from your Chase points. So those are the bare bone essentials on the Chase Sapphire Preferred, but now I wanted to get into how I've personally used the card over the past 2 years. To start with, I have been able to take advantage of the $50 hotel credit both this year and the past year as well. So I've basically been able to get $100 in value, $50 in value each year over the past 2 years. This past year, I used my hotel credit in Austin, Texas, because in January we flew to Panama and Colombia, and we utilized Austin as our positioning city, which basically means that we flew from Seattle to Austin because Austin had a direct flight to Panama that we wanted to take. So basically on the front end of the trip and on the back end of the trip, we spent one night in Austin at the start and at the end. Both myself and my wife were able to utilize our hotel credit, so I used my hotel credit on my Sapphire Preferred for the front end of the trip, and then my wife used hers for the back end of the trip. So before we took off to Panama and Colombia, on the front end of the trip, we stayed at the Hyatt Regency in Austin, Texas. Basically, I used $50 in cash to trigger the $50 hotel credit, and then I needed an additional 22,500 Chase points to complete the booking. I do have some thoughts about that hotel credit, which might make me get less value from the Sapphire Preferred going forward, but I'll save that for when I talk about whether I think the Sapphire Preferred is worth it, so stay tuned. Beyond that hotel credit, I have made some travel redemptions with my Chase Sapphire Preferred in terms of transferring my Chase points out to Chase's travel partners. So as an example, this past January, I used Chase points to transfer over to Aeroplan with a 20% transfer bonus in order to book business class seats for both myself and my wife on the way to Panama. And those two business class seats would have costed about $2,800, and the points cost was 55,260 points. I chose the option with no taxes and fees, and so I got a cent per point value of 4.28 cents per point, getting over 4 times more value from my Chase points than I would have got if I just redeemed those points for cash back. Is definitely going to play a major factor because I am on team travel, so I plan to utilize my Chase points for more travel redemptions in the future, and so this is definitely going to play a major factor in whether I continue to hold the Sapphire Preferred long term. Alright, but before I move on to discuss whether I think the Chase Sapphire Preferred is going to continue to be worth it for me, let me introduce you to Kudos. What if there was a free and easy way to earn more credit card rewards? Well then meet Kudos, which is going to be your new favorite browser extension. It's a free AI-powered smart wallet that allows you to unlock more rewards and benefits from your credit cards when you shop online. Think of Kudos as Rakuten, Credit Karma, and Apple Pay all in one. Kudos is definitely a lot like Rakuten because Kudos will help you pick the best card to use at over 2 million stores to guarantee that you'll always earn the highest rewards, points, or cash back. And you can also even earn extra rewards when you shop with Kudos. For example, during July 4th, Kudos offered up to 25% back at sites like Priceline and Sephora, which is over 4 times more value than the 4 to 8% back with Rakuten. Kudos is also like Credit Karma because with their exclusive partnership with the Points Guy and Card Match, you can discover new credit cards and get access to the best welcome bonuses available. And then finally, Kudos is also like Apple Pay because with Kudos, you never have to fill out your credit card info ever again. Just select the credit card that you want to use and Kudos will make shopping super easy by autofilling your card info with just one click. And the best part, Kudos is completely free. So if you're ready to start earning more credit card rewards, points, and cash back, then click the link below and use the code MATT to get $20 back after your first eligible purchase. Okay, now let's get into the central purpose of this video, which is determining whether the Chase Sapphire Preferred is still worth it. So I think there's a couple specific factors that are going to help you determine whether the Sapphire Preferred is going to be worth it for you and whether it's going to be worth it for me. So I'm going to get into those factors right now. The first big factor to consider is going to be the $50 hotel credit because this is the only specific tangible value on the Chase Sapphire Preferred. On paper, this should be a pretty easy to use credit. You're basically just getting $50 back when you just book one hotel per year through the Chase travel portal. However, I would argue that the credit kind of boxes you in a little bit because at least from my experience, when I'm looking to utilize that credit and I'm browsing the different hotel options on the Chase travel portal, there's typically either options on the really expensive side or on the really low end side, but there's usually not a very good hybrid option, and that's typically what I'm looking for. A lot of times the options are a bit overpriced as well, so if we just go back to my example for when I used the hotel credit at the Hyatt Regency in Austin, Texas. Again, I paid $50 in cash to trigger the credit, and then I needed to pay an additional 22,500 Chase points to cover the entire stay. On the Hyatt website, that same Hyatt Regency in Austin, Texas is typically like 15,000 to 20,000 Hyatt points to actually book it. So instead, I could have transferred out 15 to 20,000 Chase points over to Hyatt, and I would have gotten a much better deal. Plus the fact that I felt like I had to use that $50 hotel credit to get value from the Sapphire Preferred forced me to go a little bit out of my way to utilize that credit because I do have over 600,000 Hilton Honors points, so I would have much rather just utilize those points to book those one-off hotel stays for those connecting flight options. So going forward on the Chase Sapphire Preferred, I'm gonna do a much better job of only utilizing that hotel credit when it makes sense and it fits in organically. And so because of this, I definitely do think that there's gonna be some years where I don't utilize that $50 hotel credit at all because I'm simply not gonna force myself to do so. And I'm not going to go way out of my way just to utilize the credit. On years where I don't utilize the hotel credit, my effective fee stays at $95. So is the Chase Sapphire Preferred worth it at that point? Well, I think the next big factor to consider is going to be the Chase ecosystem in the sense that the Sapphire Preferred gives you access to Chase's travel partners. For me, I'm typically going to utilize my Chase points for one big travel redemption per year. So this year, that again, was when I transferred Chase points over to Aeroplan. And I got 4 cents per point for that travel redemption for flights that would have normally cost almost $3,000, and instead I just utilized about 60,000 points. So if I continue to consistently utilize my Chase points for one big travel redemption per year, then that one redemption alone is going to be worth way more than the $95 annual fee. Even though I do love Aeroplan, I wanted to go over a Hyatt redemption, and just because transferring Chase points over to Hyatt is super popular. All Hyatt redemptions are valuable, but to go over a specific example, let's say that we wanted to book the Hyatt Regency in Chicago for a weekend night in August. This would require about 15,000 points, even though the cash price is typically $300 or more per night. So you're easily able to get over 2 cents per point for that booking, and that's a pretty common Hyatt redemption. The Sapphire Preferred is also going to give you a 25% higher redemption value when you book travel through the Chase travel portal. And overall, the Chase Sapphire Preferred is not the only credit card that gives you access to Chase's travel partners for making those redemptions. So we've established that that's a benefit that I pretty much need, but is there another card that would best suit my needs? Well, this brings me to my next talking point, which is to discuss when it's time to move on from the Sapphire Preferred and upgrade to the Chase Sapphire Reserve instead, and I think there's a couple factors to consider. So again, the benefit that I need the most is going to be access to Chase's travel partners, and you're able to get that on both the Chase Sapphire Preferred and the Chase Sapphire Reserve. The Chase Sapphire Preferred has a $95 annual fee, and then the Sapphire Reserve has a much higher $550 annual fee. To make up for that high fee on the Chase Sapphire Reserve, you do get a flexible $300 annual travel credit, which can cut more than half of that annual fee. The unique value on the Chase Sapphire Reserve is that you're going to get 50% higher redemption value when you book travel through the Chase travel portal. So this is going to give you a baseline redemption value of 1.5 cents per point, which is going to work really well for travel redemptions that would otherwise be pretty difficult to get high value from. So overall, what this means is that people who typically travel domestically are going to be the people who are going to get the most amount of value from the Sapphire Reserve. And then of course, if this is important to you, the Chase Sapphire Reserve is going to give you additional value like access to the Chase Sapphire or Priority Pass lounges as well. So with all that said, I am going to make the decision to continue to hold the Chase Sapphire Preferred. My bigger travel redemptions are usually international focused, so I'll usually be able to travel internationally about once or twice per year. And for that, I utilize travel partners for that purpose. I do travel domestically a little bit as well for work or to visit friends on the West Coast, but I'll typically just book Alaska flights for that, so it doesn't make that much sense to get the Sapphire Reserve. And so since I'm primarily focused on international travel instead of domestic travel, the 50% points boost on the Sapphire Reserve is just not going to move the needle enough for me to consider and justify the Sapphire Reserve. However, again, even though I'm not going to be utilizing the Chase travel portal very frequently, I do need access to Chase's ecosystem for transferring points out to travel partners, and the Sapphire Preferred is just going to be my best option. I also might consider getting the Chasing Preferred in the future, especially since the welcome bonus is typically really strong, and especially since I don't really care as much about the hotel credit on the Sapphire Preferred, since I'm not even going to be using it in all years. But overall, having access to Chase's ecosystem and travel partners is essential. And right now, I think the Sapphire Preferred is simply going to be the best option for me for that access. But I'd love to hear all of your thoughts on the Chase Sapphire Preferred, so let me know down in the comments if you still have the Sapphire Preferred and why you do. And then once you're done watching this video, go watch this video next where I go over 7 Chase credit card mistakes that you need to avoid. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Peace.